Hey guys, welcome to Board Together Games. This time we're taking a look at a beautiful dice drafting game called Sagrada. It's for 1 to 4 players. Let's get to the table and stain some glass windows. Hey guys, welcome to Board Together Games. This is a channel that is dedicated to people who are new to the board gaming hobby and families. And we cater to those folks by bringing you board game reviews for games just like this one. This is Sagrada, and Sagrada is a dice drafting game for 1 to 4 players, and what is it, 30 to 40 minutes?
45 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around that range, and we found that to be typically the case. And it is designed by Daryl Andrews and Adrian Adamescu. I apologize if I butchered that, Mr. Designer. And this game is lovely. I mean, it's not a
Definitely.
word I use very often, but it is lovely. And folks, this is, if you have not seen her on our videos before, this is Kathy. Kathy is my sister.
Hello.
And this is actually her game. Kathy kickstarted this game. So, for those of you who are new, Kickstarter is a very popular platform for getting a game off the ground and getting the funding to be able to produce the game, design the game, the whole kit and caboodle, right? So she kickstarted this game, which offered her the ability to have some extras and things tacked on. That's typically what happens in these Kickstarter campaigns, is if you back the game at a certain level or at a certain time frame, you will get little bonuses and things like that. And so that's what happened here. And just right off the bat, the game is beautiful. It is a dice drafting game, and the backdrop for this is really quite interesting. I think it's interesting anyway. Kathy, can you fill us in on kind of what this, what was the inspiration for this particular game?
Sure. Basically, the inspiration for the game is based on a cathedral that's in Barcelona, and they are known for their stained glass windows and how gorgeous the stained glass windows look. So in this game, we are actually creating our own stained glass window with different colored dice.
To me, that is just super unique as far as something to design a game around. And like we said, the main mechanic is drafting these dice. So we're going to just kind of take a second here and we can show you how to set this whole thing up. In Sagrada, the objective of the game is to draft these colored dice and in turn order and place them onto your player board in a certain configuration that follows different placement rules. And the way that you place these dice will allow you to accumulate points, and whoever does that the best throughout the course of the game will win and score the most points. And how you set this game up is, first, every player is going to choose a window frame player board, and then they're each going to be dealt out of a pretty good sized stack of the stained glass window cards. Window patterns, right? And every player will be dealt 2. They're also double-sided, which means all in all you have 4 possibilities of patterns to choose from and use in your player board. And I just have to show real quick, these things are amazing. So these cards will fit, they slide into a little slot right here in the player board, and it's to me, that's just a really neat touch that they didn't have to do with this game. So,
and you'll want to be aware when you're choosing your pattern to look at the difficulty level, which is in the bottom right-hand corner. Right. The more white dots in the bottom, the harder it is. So just be aware of that.
Yes, because I did not pay attention to that. The first time I played, I just grabbed the one that looked the coolest, and it turned out to be one of the most difficult cards to complete, and I paid for it. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. So what else do? We got a few different types of cards here that need to be shuffled up and dealt out, right?
Right. First, everyone will be randomly dealt a secret objective card, which will be a specific color that you're going to be working towards as you're drafting your dice. And then there will be 3 public objective cards that will be chosen regardless of the amount of players. Right. You'll shuffle the deck and set out 3 randomly for that. Yep. And then there's also going to be tool cards that you're going to be used that will help you mitigate your dice as you're playing. And those are also a small deck that you'll shuffle up and place 3.
Yes. And then basically you bring out your round tracker board, set that in the middle of the table, and you bring out the number of dice depending on the number of players. So there's a ton of dice in this game, and the fewer the players, the fewer the dice that will be used in the game. But the rulebook explains exactly how many you use for different player counts. You get out these favor tokens, which are to be used with the tool cards, and the number of those that you get is dependent on which stained glass window pane or window card that you choose at the beginning. And you choose the first player, and the game can begin. Sagrada is played in a series of rounds. In fact, it's a finite number of rounds. It's always 10 rounds, right? 10 rounds in the game. And how you would start a round is the first player is going to pull dice from the dice bag that are equal to double the number of players plus 1. And we'll explain why that is in just a second. So they're going to take all of those dice and roll them either in this lovely little dice tray that is included with the game, or your own dice tray, or just chunk them down on the table. And then play passes around, Kathy, and kind of explain to us how the drafting works.
Sure. So the first player will choose the appropriate amount of dice and roll them, and then they will be the first player to actually choose and draft their first die, and then play passes clockwise, and each player will choose a die for themselves until you get to the last player. Then the last player will actually choose 2 dice, and then they will pass it counterclockwise all the way back to the first player, each player choosing another die. When it gets back to the first player and they've chosen the last die of the round, there should be 1 die left over, and then that die is placed onto the round track, and it's going to keep track of how many rounds you've played.
Right. So you may be asking, well, which die should I choose? Well, I'm glad you asked. On each one of these player boards, or I should say I always forget what these are called.
Window patterns.
The window patterns, thank you. You will have certain restrictions on the dice that you can place there. And so, for example, this one has a few purples, a few greens, and then it has, a couple of 1s and then 2s. So it'll either be by number or color. The color is simply denoted in the game as color. The number restrictions are noted as shading. So a 1 is a different shading than a 2, which is a different shading than a 5. So the places that have those number restrictions, it can be any color. The places that have the color restrictions, it can be any number. But there's some other rules for placement too, correct?
Correct. So if you, for instance, place a 2, you cannot place another 2 orthogonally, which means up and down or left and right.
North, south, east, west.
Yes, the directions from that die. There can be no 2s placed in those positions. Also,
same thing with color.
Also with color. So if you were to place a yellow, then you can place no yellows in the north, south, east, or west positions from that color as well.
Right.
You can, however, place that same number or that same color diagonally. That does not break a rule.
Right. And that's how the placement works, and that's going to kind of formulate your strategy for the game by using your window pane. It's not what it's called.
Window pattern.
Using your window pattern as a guide and keeping those rules in mind. And none of this is secret information, so the other players at the table can certainly look at any time and see what you're building, what you need. And there can be an element of what they would call hate drafting in this game. Although we don't typically do that. I mean, in our group and in our family, it's typically about I'm trying to do the best I can for me. If I happen to take the one you need, it's not because you needed it, it's because I needed it as well. So, we usually don't have too much of a problem with that. One of the big caveats to the game are these tool cards, which Kathy mentioned just a little bit ago, and they're used in conjunction with these favor tokens. And Kathy, explain to us how these tool cards work.
So if you decide to use a tool card, you're going to use your favor tokens to pay for that ability. And the first person to pay for a specific tool card will pay 1 favor token to use that ability. Anyone else who decides to use that ability after that, including the player who played it with a 1 favor token, will then have to pay 2 favor tokens to do that same ability.
And from then on, it's always 2,
It's always 2 after that.
So it doesn't increase 3, 4, 5.
Right.
First player gets the benefit of just using 1. After that, it's always 2. Exactly. And these, what they do is basically they're rule-breaking cards. So if you are stuck and you're in a spot where I really want to use this die right here, it's a perfect fit right here, but it breaks one of the rules, so I can't technically place it there, one of the tool cards may give you the ability on that turn if you use that card to break that rule and place that die and kind of make your life happy. So that's what they do. And there's a number of different things that these tool cards can do. There's a pretty good stack of them in there. Same thing with the objective cards. Those are randomized as well. So massive replayability potential with this game. And then basically, once a round is completed and everybody has placed their 2 dice for that particular round, the first player then passes to the left and everything starts over again. You continue this for 10 rounds. At the end of the game, you're going to count up points based on the public objective cards if you have met those, and those can be met multiple times. And then what are the other points?
The secret objective,
yes.
which the color that you are trying to get, you're going to be looking at how many pips, which is the little dots on each of the die. Sure. And you're going to be adding up those. So you're going to want to look for higher dice
values.
Values,
right.
Thank you.
If you can.
Yeah, if you can. So it's going to give you a higher score.
Easy.
No,
not
it's not
always easy. And that's it. You play 10 rounds, you count up the points. Whoever has the most is the winner.
Right.
So what do we think of this game? It's amazing to look at. Playing the game, it's one of those that it's difficult. I get frustrated playing this game, but it's tough to get stressed out playing this game because it's just pretty to look at. It's
very serene.
It is. Thank you. That's a great word. Thank you. Sometimes I don't do words good. It is. It's very serene, and but it is a thinker. This game will. It's the puzzle is very. Again, words. It's satisfying. The reason it's frustrating for me is because I don't typically achieve that goal. And that's something that I am more than happy to spend more time with this game trying to get better at because it is a lot of fun. I will say that it can be frustrating enough that actually detracts a little bit for me in the game. I'm not sure about how you feel about that. I mean, well, I think I do know how you feel about that. But yeah, I mean, I can't complain at all about the component quality. Other than this dice tray, while I think it is a neat touch that they included that with the game, I do believe it's too small, and I don't think it's going to hold up. We don't use it. We have other dice trays that we use for games like this typically. Mm-hmm. But what do you think of just the overall? Since you kickstarted it, are you happy with what you got from that?
I'm extremely happy with what I got. I don't tend to kickstart games that much, mm-hmm. But I did hear about this game while it was being kickstarted, and I went onto the site and looked at the campaign, and I fell in love with the game. It was just gorgeous. All the pictures that they showed were just so pretty, and I thought, if nothing else, it's pretty to look at, and for the price point, which I believe was $38 for the game, it was great. And also, if you kickstarted the game, you got an extra window frame that had the Kickstarter logo on it, so that was kind of a neat little perk as well.
Yeah.
But I will say that when I received the game, I was very pleased because the components are beautiful. The cardboard is so thick. It's like a double level of cardboard. It's so nice to hold. It's very tactile. The dice are beautiful. All the colors it's like this translucent pastel colors, and I just think all the dice look really, really pretty. I mean, everything about the game is really, really good quality. Yeah. The cards are good quality. Yeah.
The glass favor tokens.
Everything are just really, really great quality. I'm very pleased with the way that they presented the game. Right.
And then did it live up to your expectations as far as the gameplay and what it was setting out to do?
Absolutely. Because I am, one of my favorite mechanics is dice drafting, and this is dice drafting, and everything about this game is exactly what I like. I love puzzles, and this is basically a puzzle that you're trying to put together.
Right.
And as you're drafting your dice, you're trying to put all the little pieces to make sure that it fits right, and you're going to get the most points out of it that you can. Mm-hmm. So that's a fun little puzzle. Everything about this game I really, really love.
Yeah. And I love it a lot too. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that my rating's probably not gonna be quite as high as yours, but that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy the game. Mm-hmm. So again, ratings are what they are, and we say this all the time. Just because we say that a game is an 8 or a 9 or whatever, it really means nothing, because really you should formulate your opinion on what you're seeing and what we're saying and whether or not that sounds like something that would be of interest to you.
Right.
So again, we call these reviews, but really all they are is a presentation. This is what it is. If it's something that looks like it would be good for you or your family or your group of friends or your small group or whatever the case may be, then by all means, check it out for yourself. So yes, the fact that there are so many different variations that could come out with the randomization of these these public objective cards, the tool cards, what secret objective cards so this might be one thing that I think they could have maybe done a little bit better on is the secret objective cards, because basically it's always the same thing. Everybody's going to get a color. And while that is nice and it works really well, it would have been nice, and who knows, maybe an expansion will bring about some different...
you beat me to it.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
That's all right. No.
So that would be, that's a small complaint though. But yeah, for the most part, I really have no issues with this game, other than it can frustrate me. But again, it's so pretty to look at. It's very easy to see right past that. So all in all, I think it's really good. Were there any other negatives that or did I just kind of hit on everything you were going to talk about?
You hit on the only negative that I had, and that was that the secret objective is just a color, and there's only 5 to pick from, so there's not a whole lot of variability there.
Right.
But other than that, everything else has a lot of really nice variability. Makes for a little bit different game each time with the different window patterns and the different objectives and the different tools that you're going to have. Every game's going to feel a little bit different, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah. And so far, we have found that to be the case.
Yes.
That every time we've played, it's felt a little bit different. With the different window patterns. Did I get it?
You did.
I got it. The different window patterns. Yeah, it's all around, definitely recommended. I would give Sagrada an 8 out of 10, and that is that's a good rating. Again, anything that you see consistent reviews for that is even really a 6 and up, it goes back to what we said a minute ago, which is if it's something that looks interesting to you and looks like something you would enjoy, then check it out. At least check it out. So yeah, and the reasoning is for everything that we've already said. Really, really no major complaints with this game. What about you?
Well, my rating is a 10. I only have a few games that I would rate that high, but this game has been a 10 for me since it's been on my radar. And when I received the game, it just solidified that rating for me. The component quality, like as I mentioned before, is absolutely gorgeous. I love how quality that the window patterns are, that I believe they're going to really last a long time. And like I said, this game hits on all cylinders for me. Everything that I really like about a game, it has. So definitely a 10 for me.
Wow, that's big. And as far as family friendliness rating for this game, I'm going to put this at a 9. And it's not because of the theme. It would be a perfect 10. But it's a 9, not because of the theme, not because of the appearance or anything like that. It's perfect for families in that regard. And for new gamers. The thing that brings it down just a little bit is that this game can be, it's puzzly. So some of the younger ones may have a tough time wrapping their heads around some of those placement rules.
Right.
And the restrictions and things like that, and how and when to use these tool cards. So this could almost be put into that next step type of game category, as opposed to the simpler gateway type of games. It's definitely a good option for those looking for a game like this. And that wraps it up, everybody, for Sagrada, which is, again, just beautiful to look at, and a game that we certainly both highly recommend. And I'm going to leave a link in the description for somewhere where you can go pick this game up for yourself. Check it out, and I think you'll be happy if you do. And also, I'm going to leave a link in the description for Thredz. Thredz is a company that makes t-shirts that are designed for gamers. And there's really clever designs, and I wear them all the time myself. This is not one. This is my Bob Ross shirt. So
This is
Gamer
one.
Thredz didn't make it, but yes, Gamer Thredz did make that one. So go over and check them out. If you're a gamer at all, we think you're definitely going to find something over there that you will like and is super clever and you will want to own. So yes, if you could do that, that would be wonderful. And as always, if you like what we're doing, please take the time to like the video, comment, and subscribe. All those wonderful YouTube things. We would appreciate it if you did so. And remember, everybody, if you are bored together,
Board together.
thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. All right, so here we're going to go to
Vogue.
stupid lights.
Yeah, box.
Stupid lights. Oh, now you're blocking the light. Come on, cameraman Kev, get your act together. I'm not sure why he's filming it all, too.
I know, right?
I can get you a copy. It's going to be on YouTube.